Well, something pop up on the screen. It looks a little red. So I think that is the live, but we are live. Let's get it. Well. Look at we are live. Yes, we are live on this Thursday night. Welcome to Tangy Tea of Life family. How are y'all feeling out there? I was trying to focus on what I was doing here and trying to focus on the anyway. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Veronica. Welcome to, thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Welcome,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
welcome
yeah.
to Tangy Tea of Life. This is where we talk about any and everything, of course. Welcome to the ones that know about the tea and for the new ones that are coming in. Welcome. I have my brother all the way from New York, WBLS radio station for tea.
Yeah. I know Victor's gonna kill me for saying this, but since he's in his closet doing the show, I'm in my closet tonight.
Oh,
All right, y'all in the closet.
okay.
Closet, yeah,
Maybe they'll come out one day.
that's
Yeah.
right. I walked into that one, boy.
Yes, yes,
Damn.
you did. And I have a girl back with us tonight,
All
Deanna.
right, Lady D.
So glad to have y'all sipping on some tea tonight. It was going to be a ladies' night again tonight, but you know, a few ladies had things to do. So I brought my brother Fatim back on this Thursday. This letter, let me say, is not for the weak at heart.
Mm.
Mm,
Let me say, if you have
mm.
any youngsters in the room, this may not be the night for them to hear tangy tea. But this is a great letter, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hello, Gina. Gina is saying, "Hey, Deanna."
Hey, sis. Love you.
Thank you, Gina, for watching, and for everyone who is tuning in to the tea. We have a spicy letter tonight, and as a matter of fact, let's get right into it, shall we?
Let's roll.
We
All
shall.
right. So it goes like this. I think my man has a sex addiction. Maybe the guys can help with this one. I don't understand how men want to have sex all day, every day. My boyfriend of 3.5 years constantly wants to have sex. It has really gotten bad since the pandemic. I've been working from home. He has his own transporting business. He's been hanging around the house lately because the Lord blessed him to be able to have drivers, and now he doesn't have all the load of work on his end. He have more time on his hands. That being said, he's constantly asking me for sex. I'm talking 7 days a week, at least 3 times a day. I'm burnt out and it's really getting frustrating. To make matters worse, the sex isn't even that good. I play along just to get along. If the sex was great, I may be writing a different letter, but he's in the small group, if you know what I mean. I make noises and pretend things are going good in the sheets, but what I really want to tell him is hurry up and get the hell off me. Don't get me wrong, I love him. He's a great provider, but I'm really annoyed at this point, and this is becoming a deal breaker. How do I tell him to stop asking me for sex or I'm out? Please help. Born in the 80s. So I'm taking it when she say born in the 80s that they're in their 30s. I guess both of them. I don't know. She didn't give an age. But anyway, yeah. So that's the letter. Um, so he's asking for too much sex. I don't know who wants to have sex 7 days a week, 3 times a day. Like that is a lot to me. I mean, I love, yeah, I love getting it on too, but I'm just saying 7 days a week, 3 times a day is a bit much. That's me. But she's saying that it's a deal breaker. She's thinking about leaving the relationship if he don't stop asking her for sex each and every day. And I guess because the pandemic, everybody was, shut in, people are getting out a little bit more now, but the pandemic having people shut in the house and, that was definitely a time to get to know your partner better. Or it was like a time that you couldn't stand your partner because it was just too much time together in the house, 24 hours a day for some people. And this man wants to have sex 3 times a day, 7 days a week. I don't know how they sex life was before the pandemic, but I'm taking it that he was not as bad then, because she said it got worse during the pandemic. Um, I mean, the only thing I can just say is have that conversation. It goes back to what I always say. You got to have a conversation with the person that you're involved with. Let them know what's going on. He just don't have him guessing. You have to tell him you don't want to have sex 7 days a week, 3 times a day. Like, it is a bit too much for you. And by the way, your sex isn't that great. So go ahead and lay that out there as well. Let him know that. Since you're going to be honest with everything, just come on and be clean and just let him know how you really feel. I mean, there's no other way to do it. We have got to stop beating around the bush and letting people know how we truly feel. You say he's a great provider. You love him. He's a great provider. What does that mean? I mean, I don't. I get when people say that the man is a great provider. I get that, but what else? What does you mean he's a great provider? So we know he's not providing you with great sex. We do know that. So he's paying all the bills. Like, what is a great provider to you? But I'm going to pass it over to Fatine. He's a guy. How do you feel about this letter, Fatine?
I think at the end of the day, you hit it right on the head in the sense of about communication. But I think this is a sensitive issue. So it's just not about just yeah, it's about coming clean, but you just don't blurt this out. Oh, blah blah blah. And the sex is not good, and then it comes down to relevancy. You understand? To one person, what is good could be not good for another person. Some people want, women are more into foreplay. We hear women say, "Well, we're more into foreplay. Men are not into. Some men are not into foreplay." So it comes down to relevancy. So that's that's one of the topics that they need to talk about right there, in the
Mhm.
sense of pleasing one another, because that's something that you can honestly possibly work on. You understand? She didn't say he fell short on areas. She just said that the sex is not good.
No, no,
So
no.
that
She did.
oh, she did say he falls short.
She said that he's in a small group.
So then they're gonna have to figure it out when hey, I look, I ain't no, yeah, you see me. I ain't no sex doctor here, so we have to put a strap on. That's something that they got to work out there.
Did you say a
Um,
strap on?
that's what I said, at the end of the day. But the other part about having the sex every day, I think about it on both sides of the fence, because let's just say if the woman wanted it every day and the man, men, because of our egos, we think we're Hercules, we're Superman, and that we can go every day. But sometimes you're tired. You may have a very stressful job that
Right.
you don't want to do it every day. So I'm just thinking that there needs to be a conversation here to see if it can be worked out. But I'll be honest with you, just like anything else that may be a deal breaker, she says that it may be a deal breaker. Communication, Veronica, after communicating, and since this is a very sensitive issue, you might want to get outside help, young lady, in the sense of sitting down with somebody that that don't know you, that want to be is not opinionated, that you think is taking sides,
Yeah.
and try to assist. Excuse the clapping, because we still at a convention here. Still at a convention,
Yeah.
and and try to work it out there. But if you can't work it out at the end, then y'all may have to make that decision that is going to work for you both. And if it's not being together, come to a mutual decision if that's what it is.
Deanna.
It's very rare that I'm speechless, but um, I think of it from a perspective of sometimes a person's body physically can't handle that 21 times a week because that's what it is. And I also think about it from the perspective of oftentimes when people write in, they always talk about the man being a good provider. And it almost seemed to me like they sell their souls just to be provided for. Provision is good because I want a man that provides also, but
Mhm.
it shouldn't be me putting all of my happiness, all of my needs, all of my wants aside just to be provided for. And
Right,
it seems like oftentimes over and over and over, we hear that comment in the letters, but he's a good provider. But at what
right,
cost does the provision come?
exactly.
I,
That's
I
what I'm
don't
trying to figure out. Like,
I don't
So
I don't
which
know, like you said, what is that? What does that look like? I mean,
what else are you offering? I mean,
Well, I just was going to add in because I didn't want to step on your time, Deanna. I didn't comment on that about the good provider. To me, that statement is basically saying that he is a good provider. He's a good person. It's just that in this area, it's too much now. Too much in the sense of volume. You understand? In the sense
mhm,
of the timing, but also, it's falling a little short at the end of the day. So again, this is something that is serious and it needs to be dealt with because only as time goes on, it's going to get worse at your age. If you're
mhm.
talking about somebody that's 70 plus and your sex drive may be going decreasing, and everybody that's 70 something, don't beat me up because you could still have a high peak sex drive
yeah,
at the end of the day. Then you look and weigh it. But at somebody that are in their 30s, at the end of the day, this is something going down time that if it's going to be going downhill if you don't work, if you can't work this out.
I mean, even in your 30s though, like that is just draining to some. I mean, I 3 times a day, 7 days a week. Give me a break. Like, and what are we looking forward to if we're gonna be together? You know, what are we looking forward to when it comes to sex? Like 7 days a week. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be some kind of break in there and like let me want for it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a balance to everything, first of all. And
Yeah,
it's so interesting because I was just thinking about the letter last week. It's a direct contrast to that. So it's almost like you're on one end of the spectrum where you got one that's running around doing all this stuff. Then you got one that wants you so much. Like it
yeah,
has to be a balance.
right. I mean, going back, go ahead, Fatine.
Yeah, I think that it can be a balance, but what does a balance mean, Deanna? What happens if you get two people that are like rabbits, that they both enjoy that? So you
Then
understand what I'm
then
saying?
that's
There
their
might not be
balance. You know what
right,
That's
I'm saying?
right,
their balance. Yeah,
But
right.
if you get one that's saying, "Hey, this is too much," and one is saying, "Hey, this is too late," too less. It has to be some kind of compromising. Hey, well, maybe, and it sounds like you're planning it, and I hate to sound like that, but it just has to be some sort of balance there, and maybe. Without them having a conversation, maybe he feels like she's okay with that, or she likes that, or she wants that because there are ways that you can say, like you say, you have to tread lightly about the conversation, but there are ways that you can say things and not be disrespectful. Of course it might sting a little bit, but it doesn't have to hurt,
yeah,
or you don't have to be nasty about it. So
yeah.
it's I don't know.
I feel like when it comes to, a touchy subject like this, I do feel like you need to have that conversation. You need to be honest with that person because, I mean, if you're not liking something that your partner is doing,
Right.
why not have that conversation? Like you said, it don't have to be, coming off in a mean way. Just have that conversation. Like,
And
Tanya,
the fact that, to me, at this point, she's saying he's coming up short, so to speak, you knew this.
You 3.5 years in.
So to me, I get that you're trying to explain what the problem is, but to me, at this point, you should have accepted that by now. The issue should be the 21 times a week, because that's what stuck in my mind. But
Right.
you knew this before 3.5 years. You knew everything about this except the amount.
Exactly. And the thing is just I don't want to be with someone where I have to, and Fatine, this conversation may go a little uncomfortable for you, but I wouldn't want to be with a man and I'm just laying there and just playing along. Like,
Not uncomfortable with me. I was getting ready to say about with the falling short in that area at the end of the day. See, this is why, again, I don't want to get in on people's beliefs. So I'm trying to tread lightly on that. But so, you wait till you get married to
And
have
you won't know
sex,
any
and then you
better.
fall, yeah, and then you fall short. And then, I hear, oh, well, there's other things that can be done. Come on, let's be real. You want to get that itch scratched at times. So at the end of the day, you need to know what you're getting yourself into, because this is a commitment, a lifetime commitment.
Mhm.
And the sooner you have a conversation, as Deanna just said, Veronica, you both said talk about it. Deanna, you said about the 3.5 years. You both said the sooner you do this, the better, because when more
Mhm.
problems come up and then there's animosity
Mhm.
built on top of this, then there's a pylon. There's a pylon
Right.
of other issues. I know what I'm saying here. It's a
mhm,
pylon of other issues. And then I'll be honest with you, you may start to lose focus on the real issue because other issues are piled on and you
right.
didn't deal with them then. So deal with this now, and like I said, this is, if you feel that it's hurting your, well, if it's so sensitive
Yeah.
that the other person cannot talk about it, then figure out how you can talk about it, but it has to be dealt with.
And this is how resentment builds up.
Yes.
A
Mhm,
person feeling a type of way and they don't feel like they're able to discuss it. And sometimes I know I've had conversations with people that I didn't think would go well, but they were more receptive of what I said and how I said it.
right.
You can do anything in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely have that conversation. I mean, I just couldn't like,
And
and
then where does she want the relationship to go? Because like you guys said, if it's marriage, you want it to end in marriage. This is your whole life.
that's right.
So,
And
and then if you don't want this your whole life, then like Fatine said, why not end it now?
Yeah. Now, I have a question if the young lady's watching, and this is to you both here. Let's flip this for a minute. Let's look at this. I got to bring a little Victor in here. Let's look
Oh
at
my
it from
God.
the other. Yeah, I got to do a
Here
little
we go.
Victor here, and I'm gonna tell you why. What happens if he wasn't falling short and the sex was off the chart? Then would she be willing to have more sex, or would she even complain when her back is, since you said her back is getting blown out and she's experiencing things that she's never experienced before because he's laying it down? Do you think she would still complain as much as she's complaining now, ladies?
Well, she kind of alluded to me. She kind of alluded
well,
to the fact that if it was better, then she
Mm,
might wouldn't
yeah.
complain
as
as
much.
much. So,
But
mm,
at the same time, even if it's that good, that still would get old. 7 days a week, 3 times a day.
that's 21 times a week. I mean, like,
Yeah. I ain't got time.
you don't. When do you work? When do you clean? If you have children, when do you take care of the kids? Like,
Right. And it's so crazy because like this stuff really,
Everything ain't
no
gotta
lie.
listen. Everything ain't gotta be 2 hours, y'all. It's a quickie here,
I
quickie
mean, I
there.
don't
Come
care if
on,
it's
let's be
4 minutes,
real.
3 minutes, 4 minutes,
but that's
5 minutes.
21 times. That's like you eat meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
That's right. And some
every
people,
day.
But like I was, it's crazy because I had this conversation with someone and she was going through that with her boyfriend, like every single day. I mean, I don't know what to tell her. I did tell her that she needed to talk with him and let her know that how she feels. She don't want to do it that often. Like we as women, I can't speak for all women, but like we don't want somebody like poking us all day. Like that gets old. I want to look forward to something if that makes sense. Like a break 2 days and then I'm looking forward to, I mean, not saying that we have to schedule anything because that doesn't make sense.
Right.
If they're gonna schedule to have sex with you, then no. But I'm just saying, like, let me be looking forward to something. Oh, we didn't do it last night, so I know it's about to be one tonight, something. But if we're doing it 7 days a week, 3 times a day, I'm like, oh,
Here we
every time
go
he come in,
again.
yeah, every time he come in the room, oh, he gonna ask me for some. Oh, here, like,
You
and then
even get a day or 2 days off from work. I mean,
yeah,
and maybe he thinks she enjoys it or that she likes it that much. He might. I think I said this before on one of the other conversations you all had. He might be waiting for her to say, "Okay, this too much," because he might think she like it and think he's doing what she wants him to do.
right,
yeah. Well, I'm going to go a place that I know, it's the taboo spot, but hey, let's look at it from this perspective. And to hey, cuz, she's saying, why am I all dressed up? At convention, we had a convention at work for the
oh,
past three
yeah.
days.
Hey,
So
Pat.
I'm still at the hotel where the convention is still being held. Um, let's look at this. We've heard about this whole thing about men and more than one woman. Now I know we're talking about matrimony, one on one. When you say I do, you're committed to one person. But let's just take a look at this. That both people in their prime, and Veronica, you said, and Deanna, you both basically said you don't want to get poked all the time. It gets old. That may be true.
Don't take it
But
out of context, though.
I'm not, no, I ain't taking out of context. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a man, so I know what other men say and other men do and what they think. Some of them
Mhm.
have that ever ready battery, and that's why a lot of men stay single longer than they plan because they feel that one can't keep up and they need more of a variety. I've seen women who said men can't keep up and they need more variety. So this is not just a man thing, but I am going on what you ladies just said, that eventually gets old as time goes on. But if that drive is there, then that man is going to need, because I'm telling you, just the same way suppressing that creates an issue and a problem.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I get that. That's a lot of a lot of people say that's why they go out and cheat or whatever because they're not getting satisfied at home.
On both sides,
On
both
both
sides,
sides, both
both
sides. That's what I'm
sides.
saying, both
Mhm.
sides. But can people open their mouth and have the conversation? I
It,
You
it
mean,
mean
I still think even in any relationship, you have two different human beings. You're gonna have two different communication styles. You're gonna have two different sex drives. You're gonna have all of this
yeah,
different stuff. So when you decide to be in a committed relationship, marriage, whatever, monogamous or whatever, you have to take all that into play, because it's different people. So if you're in that relationship, that conversation still has to take place. And I understand, like you said, that's why a lot of men stay single or a lot of women stay single so that they can do whatever they want to do with whomever they want to do. And that's fine. But when you get into that relationship, there's no way around that communicating that because I don't want to live miserably
right.
on no end of the spectrum at all. And I don't, and I, like we talk about religion, I don't think God designed anything for us to just be miserable because somebody is a provider. No.
Exactly. Like I don't get that. It, and I'm not gonna keep going into my story about, my ex was a great provider. But I mean, we need something else. Like
Right.
I don't care. Like if you're
Circum,
not, go
circum,
ahead.
circumstance dictates, and I totally understand what you sisters are saying. But I tend to, when we talk about how our grandparents or great grandparents dealt with certain situations, things would they adapt to the times.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say about adapting to the times, we looked at a lot of women who stayed at home. The society were not favorable for women to go out there and work, or if they did go out there and work, they couldn't hold a whole house down in a sense for the family at the end of the day. But
Mhm.
things have changed now. Women are going
Totally.
out there, and they are not only can bring the bread home, they can bring the whole groceries home and do a better job at it than some of the men can do at the end of
Right.
the day. So the circumstance now has dictated to the point that either the women, I have a choice now at
Hmm.
the end of the day, or they're going to be the driver of the ship and say, well, you know what, I want it to go this way and that way, similar to how we men used to do it. And see, a lot of us men don't deal well with what we dished out to women. We don't
Mm-hmm.
deal well with that.
Right.
I still, and it might be a little off topic, but not really. But when it comes to provision, I feel like not all, but in a lot of relationships, if the man is the sole provider, it comes at a cost to the woman. For example, he's a great provider, but in the area of sex, she's not satisfied.
Hmm.
Or you could have a man that's a great provider, but the woman is not happy, or he's cheating, or all these different things. I feel like when you're not, and I'm not saying everybody who does not financially provide is not contributing to the household. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like in a lot of cases, it comes with the price.
Yeah. Like as far as I don't. Well, I mean, some people have the total package.
Yeah, I agree. Some people do.
Yeah. But it does come at a cost. It's either you got this or you got that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, and then that's when the woman, I'm just speaking for women, some women, that's when we get caught up and we get stuck right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a great provider. He's providing, let's just say he's providing this, but he's not providing this, but I so love this what he's providing.
That I'm willing to sacrifice
Right.
this. And if you're okay with it, and if you're willing to sacrifice X for Y, then you can't complain, because it all boils down to choices at the end of the day.
That's right.
We make choices to stay in situations that may not make us completely happy, or we may feel like it's not worth cutting off, or I can
Right.
sacrifice this or that, or whatever. So it all boils down to choices to me. What's
Yeah,
important to a person?
exactly.
I totally agree
And
with that. There was a
yeah.
story. There was a article in Essence magazine some years back, and I'm talking about late in the '80s. In the '80s, and it was talking about women that was looking for that perfect man, or 10 out of 10s. Let's just say you made a list and the 10 things that you was looking for in a man, and they were saying, would you be willing to compromise, or do you have to have all these 10 things met? And some women said, I needed to have all these 10 things met. And a lot of those women were still single because it was hard to find those things. So at the end of the day, just like you said, Deanna, you have to know what you're willing to accept and not accept. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But as relationships, you come together and you grow together, things change. And I'm just looking hindsight, things change, things happen,
Yep.
and emotions get involved. So this is where communication and working together and understanding, because I'll be honest with you, you could start on the same page in the
Mm-hmm.
same book, in
Yep.
the same chapter, and as time goes on, you in
Hmm.
different bookshelves.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it
And
normally, of course, it starts out that way. Everybody's on the same page, you know? But I mean, you do have some people that stay on that same, that same level, but a lot of times you have people that's going to two different shelves, like you
And
said.
know your deal breakers, because I could have a list of top 10 things. Maybe I'm not willing to compromise on the top 3. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
other things you can work on,
Right.
So it has to be. Now, I don't believe in I should be compromising things that are so important to me, but you have to know what's important to you and what you're willing to compromise on. You have to know your deal breakers and your triggers and things like that.
Yeah.
It's not for a person to know and have those conversations. People are afraid to talk. Like you said, Veronica, when do you have the conversation? I mean, I think you should talk about it.
I think so. I think that's important. And sex is important for in relationships.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
what if he's just as miserable as she is and he's just not saying it? Just thinking, oh well, she like it all the time because this is what we're doing. It's our routine. He may be thinking she like it just as much as I do, and he might be like, oh, I can't keep up.
right.
But like you said, that ego,
You have to talk about it, point blank.
no way
And,
around it.
That's
and
right.
some people set their standards too high. Like some people, they expect this, but they're here, but they expect this in relationships when they expect their
Right.
partner to bring 80%, they only bring in 10%. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I always say, be the change you want to see. Be the
right.
change you want to see. Be what you expect from other people. Like you can expect something from somebody that you're not.
Yep.
Right.
Also, I just want to say this about,
Mhm.
you know, we tend to judge people as we judge ourselves. When we look in the
Mhm.
mirror, we tend to judge the other person sometime there. And you got to realize that people are still growing. Because you're
Right.
25, because you're 35, because you're 40,
Yeah.
don't mean that you can't make bad decisions.
Right.
It don't mean that you really know yourself
Right.
and understand yourself. That's why I was saying certain things, and as time goes on, looking back, yeah, I in a relationship, I've seen where I've done some things that are wrong. I've
Mhm.
also saw things that I still question myself in a sense of who I am.
Mhm.
And you got to realize when you're in a relationship, in a committed relationship, sometimes you start to find out things about yourself that you realize, wow, I thought I was like this. But you're trying to live like the Joneses. You're trying to live like society says that you should live your life, but
Mhm.
maybe that's not the way you want to move. You
Right.
may not want to move in that direction, but you know what? The family's already there, the commitment's already there, and you just don't want to throw it away because you feel that what you're feeling is selfish. But
Hmm.
but as time goes on, your actions or reactions may say, you know what? This is not the same person I was 10,
Right.
15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or I realize I'm not that person that I thought I was.
Right.
And speaking of family, a lot of people stay in things, stay in relationships, stay in
Mhm,
marriages
mhm,
because, and I'm not only talking about their family, like their children. I'm talking about family. Like you hear people saying, "Oh, I'm best friends with his mom," or I'm so close to his sister, and and a lot. That's when the relationship hurts because you're dragging on the relationship for the wrong
Wrong
reasons. When
reason.
you knew 2 years ago you should have been out of that. But because you're close with the mom, you're close with the sister, you're close with the brother, whoever, you're trying to hang on to it because you feel like you're not only going to let your partner down, but you're going to let the entire family down.
right.
And that's where people make mistakes at. Stop trying
Hmm.
to hold on to everyone and think about your own feelings.
Right.
You know
I
what I'm
have a
saying?
question for you guys. I think about it. I haven't had a lot of relationships. And I feel like when you really love somebody, love kind of covers. So when
Mhm.
you really love somebody, and you guys can help me out with this, even if it's not as great because you love them and you have those feelings for them, it almost as if it doesn't matter as much.
What doesn't matter?
Simple. Well, sex isn't simple, but I've been in situations where I cared about a person so much that I was blindsided to the fact that things wasn't so great.
Well, definitely. Yeah.
So
It
it
got,
makes me want how much. And I'm not saying you don't love them, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, is it love or has the ship sailed?
That's that's a great question. And you know, if you if you do things that the other person think that you've done, and it seems like you've done things that you don't care, then they say, well, you don't love me.
Hmm.
And then you always hear, I'm in love with, I still love you, but I'm not in love with you.
Right.
They say those words because I feel that at the end of the day, and some people may disagree with me, and that's fine. But you can, I hate to use the word care because you can genuinely love someone at the end of the day, but some of your decisions don't look like you love them at the end of the day. So the question is, well, the decisions you made prove that you don't love me. Well, if that's the case, if you're doing things that is causing pain and hurt and they're expressing this, then that, again, communication is important. But then after you sit down and realize and get past that hurt and decide to say, if I'm going to move on with each other, then you move on and you don't forget, but you saying, okay, I'm willing to work with my partner. I'm willing to
Hmm.
work with my better half to make this work. And we have to be sincere about our words. But if we're not sincere about our word, then what do we have? We don't have
Right.
that much because we're still beating each other up. And at the end of the day, you want to be happy. You just said, Deanna, you don't want to be miserable.
I
And
know I
don't.
don't. Like
And
life is
at some
way too
point,
short.
love shows itself. Love shows itself. Kind of like what you said, Fatine. If we're in a relationship or whatever the case, and your actions are saying that you don't love me, I'm going to believe your actions more so than your words.
Right.
Your actions will speak louder than your words because at some point, if we're having a conversation, you just got to get it. If you love me, you got to get it. I mean, over and over and over, it wouldn't be the same thing. I don't think. I don't feel. I don't feel like that's love. It might be like you said. I care for you a lot.
Mhm.
Can you be in love? See, I asked this question before. Can you be in love with two people? I'm asking that. I'm not going to make the statement yet, but my can you be in love with two people? That's why I'm saying, can you love someone and love someone else? Can you do that?
I think so.
I think so, but I think that you love one more than the other. If
It'll play out differently to
yeah,
me. If
yeah,
somebody's gonna get a shorter end of the stick because
right.
I don't feel absolutely no way that you can devote the same amount of time, the same amount of money, the same amount of energy, the same amount of effort, sex, whatever,
Yeah,
to two people equally. I can't see that.
right.
No. I mean you can, but somebody will get the short end of the stick, in my opinion, unless one doesn't require as much as the other. I don't know.
Could
Yes.
I just want to say this. I'm not definitely not going to reveal people's personal business, but I know somebody that is in a polygamous relationship. And this is not something, see, when you say polygamous or dealing with more than one, the first thing you think of is sex. The first thing is, oh, he's with another woman. Well, let's
But
just
that's not
say,
why they say they do it,
hey,
right?
well, there's different reasons.
Right.
Let me just start off like this. This is not something that's 5 and 4 years in. This is something that's 50 and 40 something years in.
Veronica.
There was something.
Girl.
This is something that the male said that this is the way he was moving, and he put his cards on the table. Um, and these are not women; these are both independent women with careers, different careers, stand on their own. But this is something that was agreed upon, and you should see how it works. I can't go but so far, but it works. And a lot of times when people hear this, oh no, it works. It works better than just two people being together. Why hate on something that three people have decided that is going to work them for them, and they've been prosperous so far in that amount of time? That's beautiful to me.
I have been watching the show a little bit, Seeking Sister Wives,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the whole idea behind it. But I still think that somebody at some point will feel left out, or whatever the case may be, because again, in retrospect and on paper, and maybe for the people, it works perfectly. But
Right.
I just believe that if they really look deep down, somebody feeling the type of way, in my opinion, because it just no. I mean, and maybe it's just
But are
me.
you right? God, I'm going to ask you. You're looking from your eyes, correct?
And I think, and me personally, from now, I know women who like both sexes, which it is what it is. But to me, when it is introduced to somebody that's outside of a religion, some religions teach that it's okay.
Yeah.
But when it's done out of the context outside of religion, I think it comes from a selfish motive, because who needs? I mean, no.
I can't. Like, I don't want to share. Either you with me.
Or
It's
Yeah.
understandable. That's why I don't push that on. First of all, this is not a religious situation with the people. Number
mhm.
one, this is
So
a matter of fact, this is not the first person. There's another younger person that I know that talks about it. There's three people I know off the top of my head, but I'm just giving you the one with the stronger foundation. They have the 50 and the 40 years, kids
Yeah.
but
involved, careers involved, homes involved, and it's just
right.
working. And it's
But
working.
generally speaking, from what I understand about it, um, the man, although the women say they develop friendships and sisterhood and community with the children, this, that, the third, but to me, the man benefits the most physically and sexually, because the two women can't intermingle in that way usually. Um, they both sleep with him, but they can't sleep with anybody else, and they can't sleep with each other. So from what I know, he benefits the most from
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you got somebody to help yell at the kids. Yeah, you got three incomes that's coming in the house, but I'm not gonna be in the next room with my husband in the room with you, and I know what's going on. No.
Yeah, like I just can't. I mean, to each his own,
Yeah.
and people are comfortable with that. They
Right.
are
And if it
comfortable,
works for them, so be it.
so be it. But me, no, and not knowingly that it's going down that way. I don't want to share. I'm sorry. I don't. I don't. I don't. If I got to share you, I just.
I almost feel like it's, and I know we've been hearing the word narcissism a lot since Derek Jackson, but I kind of feel like it's that, because how can you expect that? You might want it. Most men may want something like that,
Yeah.
but they're not going to expect it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
This is. Let me see. Cortina says, "Yes, I think you can love two people."
Hey, Tina.
um. Mr. Sam had put up a comment here too. She should just tell him that every day is just too much.
Right.
Going back to that conversation.
And
But
then as far as loving two people, I think I definitely think you could, but just somebody gonna get the short end of the stick, in my opinion, because you can't be everything to everybody at the same time. I'm sorry.
yeah. But the thing is, why would you want to get caught up? First off, why get caught up in that situation of loving two people? But you know what? It happens. It
It
Things
happens
happens.
happen.
It
every
Yeah.
happens.
day.
It happens.
Mhm.
Like, and some
Life
people,
happens.
yeah, and people are cool with that. They are cool with, this man not seeing her but on the weekends because he's with his family during the week. But he makes time for her on the weekend. Cool
And
with
it
that.
might be enough for, that's what I'm saying. It might be enough for that person, but to me, that weekend person is getting less. It may just be more less time, because 5 out of the 7 days he's with wife, girlfriend, whoever, living, whoever, and
Right.
you're giving the 2 days, and it may work for them.
Yeah.
You just you hit it ahead, all right on. You talk to some women who deal with married men, and some women will say, you know why I deal with a married man, because I don't want this commitment at this particular time. Number one, number, I don't want this commitment. Uh, Number two, I don't want to live like a married person. I want some of the benefits. I don't want to be alone by myself. I don't want to have to go through this person. Got to go through to find out this his health, to make sure he doesn't have this, that, and the other. I don't feel like doing all of that. So a lot of women sacrifice for that. I'm talking about the ones that choose to do that,
Yeah.
not women that don't choose. I'm talking about when you talk to women that deal with married men or men in relationships, they know that just like when you have kids, or you the grandparents, and you know those kids are going back home, you don't mind them grandkids coming over. It's the same thing with some women. They was like, well, at 8 o'clock, this Negro going home, because I
Yeah.
ain't got time to be cooking
Well,
no
see,
dinner and all that for him tonight.
well, my thing is, my younger days, I did crazy stuff. I,
Mhm.
I, I
We
mean,
all did.
like things I regret doing. I really do. But I believe in
Do
karma.
do tell, please.
No,
Smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, do tell.
we're not we're not going there. But
I got enough bell to ring tonight.
no, honey, not tonight. But
I can
I
loosen
do
this tie a little bit.
I do believe in karma.
Mm-hmm.
Karma is a mug. And when that person, if they ever if someone comes into their life who they really love and they want to be with, and they want to settle down with, karma is a mug, because you didn't gave this lady hell over here, or you didn't gave this man hell over here for being with their significant other. Now it's your time. You didn't found your boo you want to be booed up with all the time, and you want to spend the rest of your life with. Here go karma.
And I want to know,
Be careful with that.
how
Like
do you,
I believe in it.
as women or as people, let's say I'm single and I'm dating a married man or whatever the case. How do you turn your feelings off? Because in my mind,
Good
at
point.
some point,
Good point.
somebody gonna catch a feeling, and then it's gonna come. Those you knew to say, no, I know I'm human. I know I have feelings.
Right.
So how do you shut that off, or is that something that we as women or women who do that tell themselves, like, oh, I don't care if he go home, or I knew, or whatever the case may be?
Listen, I know I can't cut off feelings.
Me either.
I don't see how people can just do it. Like, oh, well, I've been with such and such. Now I'm going to go be with such. Like, I can't. I can't just shut down feelings like that.
Especially if you're over like, let's say a woman is dating a married man, which I don't condone, but a woman is dating a married man and it's only like a little fling or something. That's one thing. But to consistently be with the guy over a period of time, or over a matter of years or months, or what, you got a feeling. You can
Oh
tell
yeah, definitely.
yourself, oh, he going home, I'm good with that. But no, at some point when he start to go home, you're gonna start to feel a little salty,
Yeah.
or a little bit used, even if you don't feel salty because you understand the situation. But at some point, in my mind, you'll want somebody that's for you, because to me, the wife reaps all the benefits.
Yeah. You're definitely going to want somebody on your own.
Because he
But
died
Well,
today, the wife getting everything, and you
yeah.
just stuck with a memory.
But see, like for teens say, like this, like I know like two couples that been in a relationship with a married man for over 30 years. And they're cool with it.
But they love them and they care about them. If you did and you would have moved on after all this time. I mean, they might be cool with it and they might understand and accept the situation, but nobody can't make me believe that you don't have a feeling or two or three or
Right.
10.
You
and
might
they're committed to that person. Like,
exactly.
No, no, no.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, they are
yeah.
committed.
See, Deanna, you looking again. I can't tell you how to feel. You can feel that way, but we know the way you're feeling, you're not going to do that.
I
But the
don't want to
folks
do
that
that.
have right, right. But the person that has done that, you just mentioned it, that they're committed.
They're
My
committed.
my issue. This is where my issue, and I'll take this up with the men. I'll take this up. The problem I have is when the man has the wife and he has the other, and then the other says, you know what, I want to have what you have.
And they got a problem with it then.
And I got a problem with the men that tries to hold on to that, like that selfishness. That's not fair. And if that
Mhm.
man can say, you know what, I love you still, but that's right. You deserve. You've been a good woman to me, but you're not getting that whole package.
Yeah.
And he wants to move on, and he gives them blessings. Kudos to that brother, because now you're looking out. And if you love that person, you want the best for that person. And if that
Mhm.
person, at the end of the day, wants what you have, they have the same right. You don't own
Right,
them. You don't own
right.
them at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a man being a man, they not going they can't take what they dish.
No, I can't see him.
Poor little tink tink.
Right. I can't.
Some men can't, and some men can.
Yeah. Some.
Because again, whereas he may not be in love, I just don't believe that two people can be together all these years and not have some care. And you just
Yeah.
know it's he might agree to it, but it'll be reluctantly.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and the sad thing is because I know we as women we catch feelings quick.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then you talking about I'm messing around with you for a year or two. Come on. Yeah, feelings are definitely there.
Definitely.
Definitely there.
Oh yeah, they're there. We're not going. This is not some game that you're. Well, it is. Some people are playing games, but this is real. But there are so many different scenarios out here, ladies, that a lot of women go home, and that's why I say we have to talk to some of these ladies that do this and find out why they do this at the end of
And
the
a lot
day.
of things are defense mechanisms. I think I've been hurt so much. My
Mhm.
expectation from men are lowered. So this is what they're gonna do anyway. So I might as well beat them at their own game. But at some point, me personally, just from me being a woman, I'm not all women, but at some point, I believe that most women, I can't say all, desires monogamy. We settle a lot, but we want somebody who can be just ours. We settle
Say that
because
again.
we feel like we settle.
No, say the other part.
What?
That women are more monogamous, and I believe men are more polygamous. That's why that book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, that I thought that was a great book because we are or we are the human family, don't mean that men and women are the same. You have estrogen, we have testosterone. We are part of the human family, but we're not even built the same.
Not at
You
all.
understand? So
Mhm.
because we human don't mean that we think alike and feel alike at the end of the day. So when a woman says that about the monogamous, I'm not saying all men, but a lot of men, if they're honest, they may not say what you would want them to say or think they would
So
say.
why not remain single, meaning not married or not in a committed relationship, and just do what you want to do? Because first of all, in most cases, not always, but in most cases, the man asks the woman to marry. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I think that some men ask that because they know that's what she wants. It's not really what he wants, but he feel like that's what she wants to do.
But when
She
you
wants.
make that decision, then you got to accept what comes along with it, because before marriage, I'm sure you know that the other person expects monogamy. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You before it leads to marriage, you should already if you got somebody who is monogamous, or what do you say, polygamous. You know that. So along with that comes those expectations that you, when you decided to get married, that you committed yourself to. So like Fatine say, if they're honest with themselves and they're polygamous, then just don't sign yourself up to be committed in that way.
My
Right.
And
foot.
leave women alone who want monogamy. Find
Well,
somebody who don't.
well, let me switch it
That
back
part.
to. Let me take it back to the woman who I'm gonna call out a name. I'm gonna call my friend if she's watching, or the actress Kim Coles. That's my friend, and
Hmm.
I call her name out not because of her personal situation. It's something that she's written in her book. She wrote in her book why. Oh, she was trying to ask the question: why does some of us women, because she is a woman, she said, why does some of us women go for the bad boy or the guy that's not always going on that straight and narrow?
Yeah.
And one of her answer to that, and she didn't say her answer was the in all answer, but she said one of the reasons that she felt is that she wanted to be the one to change that person. She
Mm.
wanted, so a lot of times I hear and I know I'm not gonna call no names. I like that thug guy. I brought this up before. I like that thug guy, but you don't want to take what comes with that thug guy because you know that thug guy in hip hop or whatever. Again, not painting you all the brothers that under that banner, but if you're living that life, you know what you're picking at the end of the day. And a lot feel that, you know what, I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna change him. I'm gonna
You
do that.
can't change
But
them.
but you can't change him.
He or she
Right.
gonna have to be the ones that want to change.
There you go.
I don't think women go into it thinking, "Oh, I'm going to change him," or whatever the case may be. Men have a way to woo women and make them feel like or think that there's something that they're not. And once the woman is hooked,
Yeah.
then your true colors come out. And by then, we talk about these feelings that we can't turn off. We have an emotional attachment. So once you get that emotional attachment, then comes, well, maybe he'll change if I
Yeah.
this or I that. But we don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to change this thug.
Yeah.
No, because in that case, you get who you pick. If they put it out there from the beginning, you got who you pick. In a
Yeah.
lot of places, I call it, I felt like I've gotten catfished because while you were the same person that I saw visually, your actions was different than you posed in the beginning.
Is
Mm.
that ladies? Is that, just want to hear your opinion? Is that our nature as men? Since, like Victor said the other day, I agree with him about us men being the predator. Is that part of our nature, or is that learned behavior?
To cheat,
Not to be the predator, like you say, lure.
Mm.
If you want to use the word cheat, to boom, but to be the predator to chase, you just sometimes you chase one cat and you satisfied with that one cat, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of cats being chased at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, is it learned behavior? Is it what we grow to learn, or is it part of our nature to be that predator to go after women?
I think it's part of nature.
me too. But if it remains unchecked, that's where the problem comes in because
Mhm.
some things we by nature have desires for, but you have to check yourself. Like, I'm gonna use sex as an example. We all have those desires. I mean, we're human, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean because I have that desire, I gotta go have sex with the whole world. Same thing with men. Because you have those desires and you're a predator, don't mean you have to prey on everybody walking.
Right.
So it's nature, but it can be learned behavior too. Just check it.
I agree with both. I think part is nature, and part is learned behavior. You can't be part of society and be out here and a go-getter type person, because there's people that's part of society but they stay sheltered, and some people that are sheltered
Mhm.
are not introduced to a lot of things, so they move a little slower. But if you're part of and you're in and out and interacting, going to the club, this, that, and the other, part of your nature is there and part of it's learned. And then that's where you try to get that balance and then find out who you are. And that's what I was saying at the end of the day. You're still growing and you need, of course, we know right from wrong. And I know folks may say
Mhm.
that out there, you know right from
Yeah.
wrong. And if you're going to make that commitment to someone, you know what their expectations are.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, the question is, do you know your expectations, and can you check your expectations if they're not the same as your mate?
Well, I think men and women for that part that dealing with more than one person. I think they know who they want to be with. They know who they want to be with. They know who's the good girl. They know who's the good guy. But they just have that behavior, if that's the word, inside of them where they just have to have more. And I don't know if I use behavior because Cortina had put something down here, learned behavior and hurt behavior.
That's
But
a fact, Tina.
but I just feel like they know who they want, but they want to have fun on the side as well. If
I
that
can speak for me personally. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of relationships, but I've had a number of guys almost, I don't want to say friend zone, but for lack of, never committed because I was that good girl and they didn't want to hurt me. I can respect that looking back, but a girl like that, either they drag in the mud, and I thank God they didn't, but they put on the shelf to save for after I've ran around and done everything I've wanted to do, thinking, okay, I'll sit her to the side. And when I get ready to really, really settle down, I'll go back and pick her up. I don't get it.
But how did they respect you in that matter? Like when you say you
Um,
respect them for that, so they came out and told you that you was a good girl, nice girl, and they don't want to take you through whatever, or do
I'll
you?
use one person for example that I talked to several years ago, and we're really good friends now. We never was in a relationship. We was just
Mhm.
kicked it, and we never got into a relationship. And I just kind of went into it like a lot of women do, like I said, settling, because I had just come off the relationship, not just come off, but I had the relationship prior was with my son's father. So when I met this guy through a friend, I didn't have any expectations, because the last person I had expectations from, it just really didn't work out. So I told myself I wasn't going to set myself up for whatever. It just, how it went was however it was going to be. And so we met and we had a good friendship, and we kicked it or whatever, but there never was a relationship. There never was talk of a relationship. But after a while, I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Just
did you
when I
catch
got,
feelings?
yeah. Well, I didn't catch feelings for him because I mentally, and I think because I cared about him as a person, I really did. But I almost pulled like a dude move on him because he never talked about it. So I'm not gonna let myself go there. But I knew that if I had continued on, then at some point feelings would get caught. So I would hang out with him, but I'm getting up, I'm going home about my bit. We never did the extra stuff that makes you catch feelings. So at some point, so I knew
Mhm.
what it was. So at some point, it was like, I want something better. It just rode its wave and it was over. And so after years passed and we talk about it now, and he'll say, you handled me like a man. You never like gave me the idea that you wanted a relationship. And he said, I know me, and I cheated on every girl that I was with. I would not have gotten myself in a relationship with you because I know me. I wouldn't want to cheat on you, but my history shows me that I've cheated on everybody, and I would not have put you in that situation. So that's why I never pursued it in that way. So now I look, but I can respect the fact that you didn't talk about those things and we didn't do those extra things that would have had my feelings all caught up and me confused and involved. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah,
But years later, here you come. What you doing? And no, I'm not on that shelf no more, bro.
right.
Like, no.
Yeah,
So
like the vacation girl.
vacation, vacation over.
Right.
So yeah, I appreciate it. That
Yeah.
he didn't drag me through the mud, but it
Yeah.
still was a choice that he made and that I made, because I wasn't, in my mindset, I wasn't going to play myself again,
Right.
being
But see,
vulnerable.
that was a good thing that, he didn't lead you down that road,
Right.
because your
So I can
feelings would have
respect
got
him.
involved, and then it's like, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that you didn't do the things to get your feelings involved. Y'all didn't play that role of, well, we're not in a relationship, but we're doing relationship things.
Yeah,
You
I
know
was
what I'm
up and
saying?
at 'em. Ta ta.
Yeah. Cheryl says most people want what they can't have.
Hmm. That's true. And then some grown-ups make decisions. I've had friends in my life now that we made conscious decisions in the past. Are we gonna take it a little further? Not in the sense of a commitment, but are we gonna take this to be friends with benefits? And I remember conscious decision. Some say yes, some say no, and the ones that said no, friends still today, because it was I did that because I didn't want to push myself on
Right.
anybody at that particular time. I was looking to stay single at that moment.
Yeah.
So I just basically, hey, this was happening. And when they said no, that was that.
But you asked the question.
Of
Mm-hmm.
course, of course.
Yeah,
And
you didn't play that role like, okay, there may be something here. We may be getting into a relationship. Like, you actually
even
asked that question. I think that's so important. That's what I'm saying. Like, communication is so important. You have to let people know what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. Point
And
blank.
then, but
and
then,
even
I was just
years
gonna say,
later.
not every woman you did that with, or I did that with, because you feel, and some women can deal, and some women you can feel that they're not looking for that relationship
Yeah.
either. So you're just enjoying each other, and
Yeah.
however you choose to enjoy your company, if it's just hanging out or if it's taking it back upstairs, then
Hmm.
that's what it is. But that's a mutual decision.
Right.
And he years later having the conversation, he was surprised. I guess you used to women just he was surprised that I handled it that way. I think he was intrigued that I handled it that way because I wasn't pressed about him
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. He was used to what he was used to.
I
The
wanted to ask
women
you about that, Deanna. Go ahead, finish, Veronica. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying he was used to those type of women that he can just run through and have fun with and
And I'm
see.
glad that although I had the facade up or our situation was what it was, I'm glad that he did have insight to who I really, to who I was. And
Right.
he got to know me as a person to have that level of respect for me.
Yeah.
So, Deanna, since y'all are friends now, I'm going to ask you, was there any curiosity any time with this brother? Any time? Was there any curiosity there?
Um,
You don't have to say what the curiosity is. Just, was there any curiosity and you decided, I'm not going to act on it?
yep. Okay.
Okay,
See,
there you
you
go.
got me really spilling the tea.
There you go. That's it.
So,
Honey.
mind you, this initially has been way over 10 years ago.
You ain't got
But
to spill nothing else. You did it.
no. Like I said, when I cut stuff off, I don't have any ill feelings. I've dealt with whatever feelings I've had. I've gotten to the place where it just is what it is. Like Veronica said, when a woman's done with whatever she's done, long before she's done.
Mhm.
And so years later, you come around and you want to say all this stuff, but I'm not there. And I'm gonna tell you, like we was hanging out and I almost broke, but that's when I said, mm-mm, to the left, to the left.
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah.
recognized, I knew who I was, and I recognized things like, no, you already know what it is. He told you before what he does, and all those he's saying all these things. I'm not saying people can't change, but I am just not there.
Right. Yeah.
And
And
you
we
have.
know, we
Mhm.
know, we know what we have to do and when we have to do it. It's up to us to do it.
And the
You know?
more I don't want to say rejected because he still respected me when I said no, but it was like the more I kind of pushed him off, the more he acted like he liked me, and it was like he didn't like it, but he liked it. I guess it's the thrill of the chase. I don't know.
Not only the thrill of the chase, but just listening to what you're saying. He's no fool. He knew himself, but that's that battle inside, the yin and the yang, that good angel and the bad angel on that side. He knew what you brought to the table. And one thing is saying, yo, bro, she's, but then the other side is, yo, but you know what you normally do. So that's why he fought that at the end of the day. Just like there was some kind of curiosity there with you, because that's part of your in their nature. And this is somebody that you've been hanging around. You knew not to go so far because you didn't want to lead yourself into something that you couldn't get out, or or go somewhere you didn't want to regret. So you put up a force field and you operated within that force field.
Absolutely. So that's why I can say I can respect people. Excuse me, guys. Most of the time I was the friend and not the girlfriend, and I didn't understand that younger when I
Yeah.
was younger, but I understand it more now that I was the friend, but I didn't get drug in the mud. I don't have a bad reputation or
Right.
none of those things. And now these men, I'm a grown woman now. Like, hey, no, bye.
Right. You had your chance. You want to play around.
Okay.
Now you see this good woman.
The glow up is real.
Baby, you had your chance.
Mhm.
So men, I just want to say to men, I might be a little bit too late for older men, but choose wisely. Don't always go for the friend that's front and center, or the friend that's putting out, or the friend that, is always whatever the case may be, because the little quiet one in the corner
Yep.
or the one at home might be the one you want years later. I'm just throwing that out
Is
there. That's a little
okay.
nugget.
Oh, Cinderella.
Better
Cinderella.
recognize it. Recognize it.
Cinderella.
Hmm.
Okay, because the shoe fits.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
Right. All right, guys. So what are your final thoughts on this letter? What was the letter?
About the bad sex and falling short in
Yeah,
the bedroom.
that.
So I'll say this because I'm gonna have to get ready and catch this train. But I think I said it at the beginning. I'll stick to that. Have a conversation, but be honest with yourself. First of all, be honest with yourself. You said he's falling short.
Mhm.
Can you live with that the rest of your life?
Right.
That's number one. And is there something that can be done about that? That's number one. I'm not answering that for you. That's her decision there. The second thing is sit down, have this conversation. If you feel that it's a very sensitive topic, then say that, listen, there's some things that I want to talk to you about. They're kind of sensitive. Do you think that we can sit down as two adults and talk about this? If
Mhm.
not, then can we look at even you picking someone for professional help, or at the end of the day? At this stage of the game, I think that she should sit down with him and see if they can have this conversation about this and do it and be sensitive about it, and think, take herself and put herself in his shoes,
Mhm.
so that at the end of the day she can be sensitive and respectful at the end of the day too.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was I was just thinking when you were talking, Fatine,
Mhm.
does she necessarily need to make the point that is not all that great at first? I think initially she should come, and this is my opinion, off to the fact it's too much. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. It's a lot
Yeah.
from that angle. Then if he's not getting it, maybe the conversation can transition a little bit, but you don't have to go and be like, you're not getting it. You don't
Yeah.
have to, you know what I'm
I don't,
saying?
you don't beat them up with it, but I think you need to put everything on the table, because it's
That's
like
something he can't
it's a
help,
pile of
because
it.
no
Well
matter
then,
what, that's gonna be the size
well,
that it is.
Well, if you can't help that, the question, as I just stated,
And you live with it.
can you live with it? If she can't live with it, then there's no use even sitting down conversating. But if she feels that she can live with it and they can figure out something to come up
Mhm.
with, I think they should have a conversation about all of it, because it's
Right.
not a pile on. Because if I'm talking about this
Right.
today, then the next week is something, then it looks like to the point, are you really happy, or is this? So listen, this is something that we really need to sit down and talk about,
Mhm.
and make it point A, B, C, and just take it from there.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel like you guys, they really need to have that talk. She needs to like let him know that she's not comfortable having sex that many times a day,
That's a lot.
7 days a week. Like
21 times a
yeah,
week.
like it gets old. And then like I said, I'm not gonna have anything to look forward to if we're doing it that much. Like let me breathe and let me get excited about it. You know, we miss a few days. Let me want it or whatever.
Or weeks at that point.
Like that's too much. But I do feel like they need to sit down and have that talk, and she needs to let him know how she really feels. That's what it boils down to. Let him know how you really feel before you throw in the towel, before you give up on the relationship,
And before you get a ring.
And definitely before you get a ring. Don't wait to have that conversation after the fact.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
Find out what he's going to say, before you say I do. Lord.
Oh, they're not married. Oh, they're not married?
No. My boyfriend.
Oh, this is easy. Oh, definitely sit down and have this conversation.
Yeah.
Or if it's on the short end, just then it's time to move. Even if he's a good provider, there's a lot of good providers out there. That's the St. Jock. So at the end of the day, I just want to say this real quick. I was watching. One of my favorite baseball players is Darryl Strawberry, and he was on 60 Minutes once, or one of these talk shows, and he was talking about drugs and other things that he battled as being a star baseball player. And one of the things that he said on television, and he said in his book, that I really liked, and even Doc Gooden said about the drugs, about being always an addict. Once you're an addict, you're always an addict. But Darryl Strawberry said about being a drug addict and a sex addict, and it was when I use the word refreshing to say about a sex addict, because there are people that are addicted to sex, and some people say, well, they want it too much, but ladies, this man may be addicted to sex and has the drive to match it. He may not have the tools to do what needs to be done, but he has the drive. You understand, at the end of the day? So if he has that drive, you can't just blow it off. There has to be not only a conversation, there may be even something, right? Because so that's what I'm saying. This is something very sensitive. Yeah.
That's what, Deanna?
That's extreme.
Yes,
to me.
Yeah.
That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
To me,
snack.
Yeah, that's definitely extreme. He definitely needs some help with that.
If Deanna just say, "Look, Barbara room is over there. Cynthia's down the hall. I'll see you next week."
You and Barbara and Cynthia can have that, because Deanna is not.
Right. I definitely ain't going for that. No.
Got you.
Well, guys, guess this is going to do it for the tea for teen. I know you got to go catch a train.
Got to catch that train.
We appreciate you for jumping on tonight. All the way from New York, WBLS. Appreciate you, brother. Deanna, you already know it's a pleasure for you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It won't be the last time. You already know that. You're welcome to come back anytime. And I appreciate you. Every time I reach out, you be like, yes, of course. I appreciate it. Guys, thank y'all so much for watching the tea tonight. Thank you guys for your comments. We appreciate each and every one of you. And have a fantastic weekend. Be safe, guys. Whatever your plans are, have a good weekend and just be safe out there and practice your social distancing. A lot of people are getting out and about now.
And wear this.
Yeah, definitely.
Wear your mask. A lot of people are getting out and about.
Hand sanitize.
The sun is shining. The weather is hot here in South Carolina. And it's just, people are getting out. Just make sure y'all be safe out there.
Right.
All right. Have a fabulous weekend, God willing. We'll check y'all back out Tuesday with some more tea. Have a good night, guys.